Hi! Welcome to another episode of TFT Hyperroll from Mission4Tution, where your views help pay for our son's middle and high school tuition. He has to go to a special school, which is frightfully expensive. We don't ask for donations, but we do ask that you please put a like on the video to help with the YouTube algorithm so we can get out to more people, get more views, make more money for tuition, and with that, let's get started. This game started out and I originally decided, you know what, I do not want to do another Knights build because I've done so many of them lately. Let me see what champions it gives me and what options I have, and it very quickly went, oh, here's 2-star Vayne right off the bat. Oh yeah, and you know that recursive bow that you have on Senna? Well, here's a Negatron cloak that'll turn it into a Runin's Hurricane, which is the perfect item for Vayne. So my plans started changing really quickly. With that screaming clue, I knew I was going to try to use Vayne as a carry, but I didn't know what I was going to surround her with. So I started off with just the best units I could have for up front, and luckily it took me to a win. Now I know that's not going to last forever, so I went through some rolling and managed to find myself a 2-star Leona and a Nautilus, but not enough time left to put the Nautilus out. And even though I started this match saying I'm not doing Knights, I'm very quickly sort of moving into Night Ranger. And as I always tell people, it's important to pay attention to what the game is telling you. Of course, the game told me there I should have had a Knight out sooner. I'm originally set to go with my 3 Knights and 2 Forgotten, but when I get the chance to pick up a Varus, it's time to trigger as many buffs as possible. So we go with the 2 Rangers, 2 Knights, 2 Forgotten. By having Thresh out there with Vayne, we're also getting the Forgotten buff. That will cause Vayne's attacks to do even more damage, and with the Runin's Hurricane, that will hit more people and will allow us to win, well, more often. And I've been over this multiple times before, but getting a lot of early buffs is really good. In this case, that Varus ult empowers Leona to do more damage. And even though you'd only lose a little bit of health, it's good to keep winning in Hyperroll. At Radiant Item Time, my friend at Riot says, I see what you're doing. Here's a couple of choices for you. You got the Runin's Tempest, which is awesome for Vayne, but also the Glamorous Gauntlet. I ultimately choose the Runin's Tempest as likely the best item because it will give Vayne additional attacks on more targets, and that's what you want Vayne doing, is just cleaning house as fast as possible. And while having friends in high places works, as I get an incredibly early Aphelios with only a 2% chance, it can't make up for everything as the Assassin team is able to get right in on Vayne and disrupt anything I'm thinking of doing at this point. So after the NPC round, I get a very difficult decision where Riot says, how committed are you to this Vayne strategy? Normally I would say pick up the Spatula. However, for Vayne, you want a Rage Blade to go along with the 2 Runin's Hurricanes. And so I decide to go ahead and pick that up, and also a Hecarim with an eye towards edging into more Forgottens. In scanning through the other players, I also noticed there are a lot of Threshes out there, and so I move Varus into the corner so that Vayne will not get stunned and pulled. With the 4 Knights and 2 Rangers, this team is tanky enough to hold up against things and able to put out a lot of damage very quickly, especially with those dual Runin's Hurricanes. You can see that we dispatch this team fairly easily, with Vayne doing a vast majority of the damage on the team. This one was an easy choice for me. I wanted the loaded dice, and that's because I know I'm going to be looking for specific champions down the line to fill this comp in. Now I run into someone who for all intents and purposes is running the exact same build. Knights, Rangers, Forgotten. However, remember I said I moved that Varus into the corner? That's why. Their Thresh grabbed my Varus instead of my Vayne, allowing my Vayne to keep picking up speed and do more damage and win that fight. I'm now at a real interesting point in the build. I don't have enough Rangers to justify going to the 4 Rangers. I don't have the right items for an Aphelios build, but I do have a Hecarim that I can use to put out there and be a 3rd Forgotten for the moment, with the hopes of maybe going to a 4th to further increase Vayne's power. This is also the point in the game where I like to have one early, so that in these transition moments between having all of my buffs, I can afford to maybe lose 1 or 2, and this one is definitely going down as a loss. We get our Golden Globe of Happiness, and it is just filled with money that we can use to roll down, ultimately finding a Viego, which is going to be absolutely key to completing this build the way I now see it. Unfortunately, I'm now running into team after team that has gold characters, and despite its early promises, they have not given me enough Vaynes to turn her into gold. But now that we're level 8, I can shift over to the 4 forgotten 4 knights that I had in mind. I used the loaded dice on Viego in the hopes of getting 2 more, but I get 1 more, and that's good enough for now. I ultimately switch out Ashe for Varus because it's a slightly better ranger. I'm hoping for that Aphelios or an action, something else I can put in as my second ranger, but I am now committed into Vayne as the carry. My savior at Riot hands me a Nico's help so I can quickly take that Viego up to 2 stars and put a Quicksilver and Hand of Justice on him, so he's going to be immediately impactful on this game. The most difficult thing Viego faces is CC, and that Quicksilver is absolute key to allowing him to complete his transformation. You can see also the impact that having the additional Forgotten is going to have, as Vayne does an absolute ton of damage and keeps this very strong team from winning. Having now picked up a 2-star Aphelios, it's going to be better to have Aphelios as my second ranger than Ashe, so in he goes and I get to 2-star my Hecarim and get ready for the next fight. And although Vayne is the main damage dealer on this team, I want to draw your attention to Viego and how impactful Viego is on this fight. Their gold Udyr tore me apart before, but Viego freezes Udyr in his tracks, takes him over, and wins the match for us. Not sure why, but I still have some deluded hope of seeing a gold Vayne, but either way I'm going to improve my knights any chance I get, and of course put out the Rel so that I can give Hecarim the Cavalier buff and make the team just a little bit stronger, especially with that additional Ironclad buff. And after dispatching the NPC, I'm pretty sure my friend at Riot is actually watching this game and helping me out, because I get the Nico's help I absolutely need to bring Garen up to 2 stars, making this team even stronger than it was before. I go ahead and add the Giant Slayer onto Viego just because, well, I'm evil that way. And you can see as Vayne pours out the damage from the backline, Viego has jumped into their backline and is wreaking havoc, turning key champions over to my side, making this what should have been a slaughter into a really easy fight for us. And with that, the way it shakes out, we not only go into the top 4, but also into the top 2 with just 1 person remaining. Who's got... Wait, did I see that right? That is a 6 Forgotten with a gold 3-star perfectly itemized 4-cost Draven. This leaves me with pretty much only one hope, which is that my Viego is able to get back there and take that Draven before that Draven can completely destroy my entire team. I check over, they haven't moved it. I hope they don't do a last-minute switch, and I am absolutely shocked to see they left Draven in exactly position he needed to be for my Viego to take him over. And just like that, their Draven becomes my Draven, which is able to tear apart their team very easily. And while they should have won this, I'm able to pull it off thanks to Viego, that Quicksilver, and good positioning. Hope you enjoyed the video and have an absolutely awesome day.